Hello, and welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. I know it has been quite a while since my last video update. Actually, it has been 6 months since my last video. I started a new job and basically didn't find time to do any video analysis or let alone video content. So yeah, maybe you have noticed me quite absent in the first half of the year, but lately I am trying to come back with more content again, with more analysis, and have been more active on Twitter. So for this video I prepared a wallet report. So basically what we are going to do is look at all the wallets that have been active in the month of August. Old wallets, new wallets, what were their accumulation, did they stack, did they sell, were they flipping, and how did they compare in terms of big wallets versus small wallets and old wallets versus new wallets. So I hope that this is interesting, and without further ado, just let's get right into it. So starting off, we have the distribution by cohort, and cohort is just in this case the year the wallet became first active. So basically 2021 are all the wallets that had their first activity on Veve in 2021, and 2023 would be all the wallets that have came to the Veve app in the past 8 months. So what becomes quite clear from this first distribution by cohort is that more than half of our active wallets, or of the wallets that have been active in August, are old wallets, so from the first users of Veve, those that discovered Veve in 2021. So 64% of those active wallets last month were those users. And newer users, so users that came into the app during this year, made up 12%. So it's also not that bad. We know that that Veve still gets new users, and it's actually good to see. So next one, I looked at new versus old wallets, and here new wallets I defined as all the wallets that came into the app, or to be more precise, had their first activity in the app in the month of August. And with activity, I mean made a transaction either in the store or on the secondary marketplace. So we can see that those new wallets made up 4% of all the active wallets in August. Now we can look at the distribution by collection size. So the collection size is just the number of total items a user holds, including everything from comics, from collectible comics, artworks, whatever. So here it's also good to see that the majority of the users are actually collectors, so they all hold at least a couple to a few hundred items, and users that have 0 to 1 items make up only roughly 15%. And then, of course, we also have our big whales that, of course, only make up a small percentage, but who have also been quite active in the last months. So the next interesting topic would be to look at the accumulation. And basically here I look at 3 buckets. So first, the net positive accumulation. This means that the user made more purchases than sales. So during the month of August, the user ended up collecting more items than selling. So it's mints plus purchases minus sales. Then we have the net negative accumulation, which would be the opposite. So the user sold more items than the user purchased or minted. And then the net zero accumulation would be the users that during the month of August sold the same amount of items that they purchased or minted. So this is quite interesting to see actually, because a lot of users, they speculate that all the new users that come in are just flippers or maybe bots. But actually, if we look at these numbers, we see that the percentage of net positive accumulators is actually, of course, it's higher with the older wallets, but not that much higher. So all of them are at around the 70%. So 70% of the users that have been active last month accumulated items. So they purchased more items than they sold, or they just purchased items. The users that sell off, so they sell more items than that they purchase, they make up approximately 17%. And then we have those that purchased the same amount that they sold, the net zero accumulators. So these made up 12%. And of course, they were a bit higher in the more newer user cohorts, but still only 23%. So I think this is a really good thing to see that the vast majority of users in Veve, at least those that were active in August, they are actually accumulating items. Next, we can see the same numbers again, but by our collection size. So, of course, we see that the whales, 90% of them are just accumulating, which is a good sign. We also have some with a net negative accumulation, but I mean, still, net negative accumulation can also mean shifting around. So maybe someone is selling a lot of comics to buy into some other collectibles, maybe. So yeah, always know that there are a lot of ways to interpret the data or read something into the data. But in general, I think these numbers look quite positive and speak for Veve. And yeah, and especially looking at those wallets that only hold one item currently. So usually we would think, okay, these are kind of maybe bots or flippers, or maybe not serious collectors. Well, not yet, because if we look at all the users that at the end of August only had one collectible, 60% of them still had a net positive accumulation. So they did purchase more items than that they sold. Of course, we have the small percentage of users that only ended up that have a zero balance at the end of the month. Half of them probably were flippers. But if we look up again, then we saw that these were just like a tiny percentage of all the wallets that were active last month. Also by collection size, we see that most of the wallets are stacking collectibles. Even looking just the new versus old wallets, and new again being the wallets that actually came into the app in August, we see that almost 80% of them had a net positive accumulation. Of course, net negative accumulation is not possible if they just joined that month, because either they purchase more than they sell, or they sell everything that they purchase. So net negative is only possible for older wallets, just by the definition of new wallets here. But again, I think the distribution is quite positive. So 80% of the new wallets stacking collectibles. And next, we can see how much did they stack the new wallets. Yeah, most of them are there around only one collectible at the moment. But we do have almost 30% that look like they are starting a collection. They own between 10 and 11 and 50 items. And again, 20% that ended up or currently holding 0. So I think we also always have these kind of 80-20 relation here. So this will be really interesting to monitor in the coming months. And then from there to see if it's kind of the ratio that we can count with that from all the new users that are coming into the app. 80% will be collectors and 20% might be bot speculators or flippers. But then again, if this will hold true over the next months, then this is quite positive. So and lastly, let's look at the percentage of minters, buyers and sellers within new wallets versus old wallets. Because I knew there are some speculations that new wallets might be favored by Veve, especially now that we have the waiting list system. So this is something that I really wanted to look at. So this is the percentage of users that were minters, so users that actually got a collectible on drop or purchased in the store. So if we compare new wallets versus old wallets, we see that actually the numbers are quite close. And even like the new wallets, it's a bit lower. So 75 or 76% of new users also minted something in the store, got something on drop, versus 80% of all the old wallets. The same we can look at how many of the new wallets were buyers, also quite close, around 60% of the users that were active were also buyers. And for sellers, and that's what we saw in the monthly Veve market post that I posted, we actually did have more buyers than sellers last month, which is really a good sign to see more buyers in the market than sellers. It's also interesting to see that actually new wallets, the percentage was significantly lower in this case than for the older wallets. So only 45% of the new wallets were sellers, while around 60% of the old wallets were also sellers. And that's also interesting. That means that 40% of the old wallets that were active were not sellers. So 40% of the users active last month did not sell any item. They just bought. So all in all, looking at these data, I think we can all agree that August was quite a good month for Veve. And let's hope that these trends continue. And of course, let me know what your thoughts are on these numbers. And as always, if you found this information useful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, if you don't follow me on Twitter, my handle is rootlessgirl, and I will keep posting some stats and numbers there more often than I will post videos. So if you want to stay up to date, go and follow me on Twitter, X, of course. Now it's X. Okay, so see you in the next one.